This is looking to be a very explosive fight. One that you definitely don't want to miss out on.
So what would the result be?
The prediction is will not last 12 rounds, I think.
Nice one, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely.
At the fiery first press event for his upcoming battle, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao shook the room with a bold and chilling message, aimed straight at his opponent, Mario Barrios. The A-Division world champ, known for his quick hands and calm spirit, dropped his usual soft tone and stepped into the spotlight with serious fire. As cameras flashed and the air thickened with tension, Pacquiao made it crystal clear this isn't just another fight. It's personal, and if Barrios thought he was facing an old, past his prime warrior, Pacquiao's fire just proved he's still dangerous.
Okay, how's it going?
All right, good. Everything good.
All right, so
Weekend.
for a long time we were talking about Manny Pacquiao coming back, Dustin. For a long time we talked about him fighting. Now it's real, it's happening. Him and Mario Barrios, break it down.
Yeah, Barrios is champion, so it's a good fight.
WBC champ.
Don't count Pacquiao. Everyone's counting Pacquiao out because of his age. It's like a bunch of haters, man. He still has tons of power, tons of speed, and a shitload of experience.
If Manny wins, would it shock you or no?
No.
But it would shock the whole world.
It would shock the world, but he wins at his age, yeah, I mean, but it's not, listen, he's 45, 46.
Are you leaving jail?
45, 46, but he's not. He's always active. He's always staying active. He's always doing something. Mostly playing basketball, some sort of sport, something cardio. So no, not really.
When Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, he said, "I'm not surprised." So Manny could say that after he beats Barrios, that he wasn't surprised that he's supposed to win.
DSP. I mean, different Diaz. I like Diaz.
Manny Pacquiao's return to the boxing ring after being away for 4 years has stirred up a storm, especially after his intense press conference where he gave a strong warning. The WBC welterweight champ Mario Barrios, the 46-year-old icon, still famous for his lightning speed and punching power, is stepping back in the ring to challenge 29-year-old Barrios on July 19, 2025, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas.
It's a very contentious subject, like people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like we were talking about fighting him with Conor Benn maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So, I guess there's two questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside of the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. And that's why we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, like his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually Pacquiao is a step up. And people were still complaining at me for mentioning that fight, like Conor Benn is Boots. But he still hasn't had those wins yet.
Pacquiao has started training again with his longtime coach Freddie Roach. Even though many are concerned about his age and time off from the sport, Pacquiao has shown signs of his old self during workouts. Still, some fans and experts are unsure if he can truly compete at the top level again after such a long break from the ring. Recent video clips from Los Angeles show Pacquiao speaking with quiet strength, ready to face any storm. He talked about how hard it is to be a role model and how much he's learned from past defeats. Though serious in tone, he stayed positive. Physically, he looked sharp fast on the pads, smooth on his feet, and locked in like a young fighter chasing greatness. But the decision to let him fight hasn't come without heat. Critics argue that his age and time away from boxing should have kept him out of a title match. The WBC giving him a number 5 ranking has also raised questions about fairness and safety.
Things here, Manny Pacquiao aiming for a shock return to the ring, age 46, Josh.
Yeah, I read something about that, man. It's, that guy's my hero, you know, I named my dog after him and stuff like that, you know, stuff, but he's touching 50 years old. I think, you know, he should leave it where it is, you know, but, you know, obviously, if you get a chance to share a ring with Manny Pacquiao, nobody's going to say no, you know?
Trainer Greg Hackett didn't hold back when sharing his thoughts on Pacquiao's surprising return. Against Mario Barrios, speaking plainly, Hackett said if this fight had happened years ago, Pacquiao would have crushed Barrios. But things are different now. He says the Pacquiao we see today isn't the same wild, powerful fighter who once ruled the sport. At 45, Hackett claims Manny can't be expected to fight with the same sharpness or fury that made him a legend. To Hackett, this fight looks more like a money grab than a real test between top-tier athletes.
Hit a lick, you know what I mean? But Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios. But right now, Barrios, with his momentum, might try and beat Pacquiao up. I mean, not knock him out, but, you know what I mean, beat him on the cards, beat him behind that jab.
Similar to like Ugas, the Ugas fight?
Yeah, like on. Yeah. It's a good fight, but it's more of a good fight for Barrios. Pacquiao don't need it, but Pacquiao want to come back, and he want to come back with a bang, so, I mean, why not? If he can make it happen, make it happen. Because I would love, if Barrios was my fighter, I would love to have a Pacquiao on the record. I mean, I would love something like that. And that's a fight you know you got to get ready for.
It's a fight that boxing fans want to criticize you for.
Yeah.
But the reality is Manny Pacquiao has a die-hard fan base that you're going to make money with that fight.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to see other fights at 47. You Stanionis, you Boobs, you Brian Norman.
Yeah, but he want to steal as much as he can steal. You know what I mean? Because again, this shit is not forever. Just like anything else, it's going to end. So you want to make some money and you want to do great things.
Former champion Tim Bradley shared the same concerns, saying the fight feels more about making money than making history. According to him, when a boxer comes out of retirement, it often means they need a payday. Bradley said even though the WBC title is involved, the true reason behind the fight is financial. He added that Barrios, younger and more active, is being used to push Pacquiao to the limit. Bradley believes Barrios has the energy, rhythm, and skill to possibly end the fight early, which raises real doubts about whether Pacquiao should be fighting at all.
Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money. 1, 2. I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, you know, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, you know, bigger fighter, knows how to, you know, control distance very well. Can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, you know, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. You know, that Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, What they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
But Oscar De La Hoya has shown full support for Manny Pacquiao's return, saying he believes in the legendary fighter despite his age. He knows Pacquiao is in his mid-40s now, but still believes the Filipino warrior has the heart, willpower, and boxing smarts to go toe-to-toe with a younger man like Mario Barrios. De La Hoya praised Pacquiao's long, amazing career and said it's wrong to count out a fighter with so much experience. For Oscar, age doesn't matter, it's about what Manny still has left in the tank.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him. Can he do it? Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend, you know.
Some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
Even with all the doubts flying around, Mario Barrios remains cool and focused. In early interviews, Barrios said he respects Pacquiao, but isn't afraid of him. He plans to stick to his plan and use his youth and longer reach to control the pace of the fight. Barrios isn't just chasing a paycheck, he sees this as the biggest shot of his life, a chance to put a legend's name on his record.
When you see the Manny Pacquiao fight, what can you learn from that fight?
It showed that, combination punchers, that's how Pacquiao, was landing, his punches, combinations. And, it just showed that, he is a great fighter, but, I'm going into this camp, coming into this fight confident, everything right with our game plan. And I'm going to try to execute it as best as I can.
Boxing expert Teddy Atlas doesn't fully buy the idea that Barrios has a size advantage over Pacquiao. Even though Barrios is taller and has a longer reach, Atlas doubts that those things will really matter. He pointed out that Barrios only moved to the welterweight division recently after struggling to make the 140-pound limit. So, Atlas thinks Barrios' body might not be that much bigger or stronger than Manny's. That idea could mean this match is more evenly matched than many believe, giving fans a close battle between the veteran and the rising star. Ever since Pacquiao announced his comeback, the boxing world has been buzzing. Most fans are still wrapping their heads around it, since Pacquiao retired in 2021 and has been quiet ever since.
Not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course we understand Pacquiao has moved up, my God. I don't even know when he first turned pro, you would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean he was
108 pounds, right?
Yeah, jockeys are about 105 pounds, I think, somewhere around that neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine him though going to the whip? He might have killed the horse. That's the only thing. Yeah, you would have had Petter. What is it called? Peter, whatever. Peter. You would have had Peter coming after you. Look what he did to this horse. But look, I love Pacquiao. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active, who I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy, but you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. He beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit than when Pacquiao fought him, and maybe that made a difference, whatever. But
WBC President Mauricio Suleiman confirmed that all the green lights were given for Pacquiao to fight for the welterweight belt. But there's chatter behind the scenes that the Barrios match is only step one. Many believe if Pacquiao beats Barrios, it could lead to a huge showdown against Shavona Tank Davis. Fans and boxing insiders are wondering if Barrios was picked because he's a safer fight something. To build Manny's momentum, this may not be the ultimate test, but a smart, set up to spark hype for what might be Pacquiao's last big blockbuster.